Texas Governor Greg Abbott. How are you, sir?
Mark, I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully.
Good.
Thank you. Let me ask you about these cities in Texas, sanctuary cities. Looks like you're putting your foot down.
I'm putting the hammer down. This is offensive what's going on in Austin, Texas. It's actually the county, which is Travis County, which is the county seat of Austin, Texas. Travis County has declared what I call sanctuary city policies. They are no longer going to hold for ICE detainers certain criminals who are, in fact, criminals. They've been arrested before for very serious crimes. They could have been arrested for armed robbery or working with drug cartels or all kinds of very dangerous crimes. And the sheriff is going to let them back out onto the street without letting ICE know anything about it. That is breaching her oath of office, is breaching the rule of law. Texas is not going to stand for it. What I've done is I have withheld $1.5 million in governor grants to Travis County, and I'm seeking legislation. We are working on it, passed out of a Senate committee yesterday, that is going to really put the hammer down on any sanctuary city policies. We're going to be asserting fines. We're going to be seeking court orders that could lead to putting these people behind bars, the officials who are violating their oath of office. And we're going to make it so that it's impossible for any city or county to adopt any sanctuary city policy in the state of Texas.
Well, I want to thank you for taking a leadership role and showing people how you do this. And, I've always wondered why action isn't taken like a writ of Mandamus or something to force a mayor or sheriff to follow state and federal law. And if they defy it, then they can be held in contempt of court.
Well, you're exactly right. And it's that Mandamus action, to use a legal word, that's part of our remedies. And if they fail to comply with the Mandamus action, they would be subject to going to jail.
I think that's an outstanding, a brilliant strategy because it happens to be legitimate, and it's the law-abiding strategy. Now, the state legislature, you say it got out of the Senate committee. Did the full Senate vote on it yet?
Here's what happened is I gave my State of the State address on Tuesday. They took it up and passed it out of the Senate committee on Thursday. It will go to the whole Senate, where I'm certain it will pass. Leaders in the Texas House of Representatives, top leaders in the Texas House of Representatives, have a companion bill that matches up with the Senate bill. I feel very, very confident this will be passing out of the state of Texas very swiftly.
Let me ask you another question where you're taking a leadership role. Convention of States, Article 5, something close to my heart. Do you think your legislature at some point is going to join in that effort?
I do. I think they will this session. I declared 4 emergency items in the state of Texas. One was to ban sanctuary cities. Another of the 4 was to pass the Convention of States. Mark, you need to understand the optics of what happened. During that presentation, it was the entire House of Representatives, a large room, half of it was filled with people there supporting Convention of States in the state of Texas. Mark, we now have signed up well over 100,000 activists who are supporting this cause in Texas. And I feel very confident that the members of both the House and the Senate will pass this, and Texas will take a leadership role across this country to ensure that a Convention of States will be a reality.
I have to say, I'm not impressed with many politicians. I'm extremely impressed with you. You want to kind of run for governor of Virginia one day? You might consider that. That's where I am. Or you'll say move to Texas. All right, I got it.
Well, you can always move to Texas. You will be welcome here. You will fit right in. You're going to think, well, you were a Texan your whole life and just didn't know it.
Actually, I lived in Texas briefly. I worked at Texas Instruments for a little while before I went on into the Reagan administration. But anyway.
Oh, we need you back.
Let me ask you this, Governor. The Department of Homeland Security, General Kelly, who seems like a real stand-up guy to me, he says, look, Congress passes the bill, gives us the money, we'll get this thing built, wall and these other barriers and so forth in 2 years. Is that music to your ears?
It's music to my ears, and it was actually told to me directly by Secretary Kelly earlier this week. He came to Texas. I met him at the Rio Grande Valley, which is the border between Texas and Mexico, and we toured the border. We talked about what the Trump administration's plans are, what Texas's needs are, and what the timetable looked like. He talked about it in very quick terms, as though this is going to be something that they are working on right now as we speak, but hopefully with an implementation time period beginning in March. And what you have seen so far from the Trump administration is that he is doing exactly what he said he was going to do during the campaign, and we're seeing that with regard to securing the border. Now, mind you, know this also, and that is that part of the Rio Grande Valley is the most heavily crossed part of the border. And in the state of Texas, we're having about 1,000 people cross the border every day.
I mean, you add that up, it's just so enormous.
We have far more than that who do it legally. Legal immigration or legal crossing, there's crossing for business purposes every day. But there are about 1,000 apprehensions a day. So there's even more than that coming across illegally who are not apprehended. So there's a serious problem that must be solved. So when you add it up, it's over 300,000 people per year.
Now, Governor, I want you to remind people, because, this program is, millions of people listen to this program. I want you to remind people all over the country who see you're wheelchair bound. Explain to everybody how that happened and when that happened.
I graduated from law school, from Vanderbilt Law School, and moved to Houston, Texas, where I am right now, looking out over a Super Bowl party, by the way.
Yeah, that must be tough.
When I was 26 years old, one day I went out for a jog, which I always did. I was a runner. And while I was out jogging, a big tree crashed down onto my back, and it fractured my vertebrae and my spinal cord, leaving me immediately and permanently paralyzed. And, I could have felt sorry for myself. I could have decided that I would resign myself to basically doing nothing in life. But, within all of us is a very strong spirit to respond to our challenges, to overcome our challenges. And it was after that accident that I went on to become a Texas Supreme Court Justice, the Texas Attorney General, and now the Governor of the state of Texas.
You're very inspiring. I mean, for a lot of folks who have very, grave difficulties in their lives, as you did and other people have and so forth, what you're telling them is, okay, it's a terrible thing, but you still have a life and still go live it to its fullest.
Right.
Now, look what you've done. You're the governor of Texas, for crying out loud. That's a big deal.
So anybody can overcome their challenges and forge a pathway to a very happy and productive life. As I say, it doesn't matter how we're challenged. What matters is how we respond to the challenges we face.
Well, Governor, you really are an inspiration to me. I can't tell you how thrilled I am. Be well. God bless you.